How should I stop overeating? In today's video, let's talk about overeating and how to stop eating too much and too often. If after eating you feel tired and sleepy and not energized enough, then you are not eating properly and most likely you are overeating. Today I will give you 3 working methods to cope with overeating. By the way, after applying these tips, you will begin to notice how your clothes are getting big for your body. That is, you will begin to lose extra pounds and become smaller in volume. You probably don't even notice how much you eat at one time and what your body is experiencing. Sharon Piercy and John DeCastro, scientists in the field of behavioral neurobiology, performed an interesting study. They divided people into 2 groups and compared their eating behavior using food diaries. By the way, I also love this tool and always ask my patients to fill out food diaries for at least the last 2-3 days. It helps me a lot to analyze all their eating mistakes, and it's good for the patients themselves to evaluate the total amount of food and drinks they consume during the day. Participants kept food diaries for 7 days and recorded everything they ate or drank, as well as their activity level and how they felt about each meal. The study confirmed that people tend to significantly underestimate the amount of food they consumed. This was evident in both groups of subjects, but it also showed a huge gap between the 2 groups. The weight gainers ate on average nearly 400 more calories a day than the control group. At this rate, they gained more than 2 pounds every 3 weeks. Consequently, to avoid overeating, you need to keep a clear track what you eat, what you drink, and most importantly, how often. Try to keep a diary of your meals. Write down every day what you eat, what you drink, how often, that is. Write down the time of food and drink. Write down coffee with milk, cream, sugar, tea, and all the things you drink tea or coffee with. Write down all juices, morsels, and compotes, because all that I just listed is a snack. Also, in your food diary, be sure to write down your feelings, both physical feelings such as stomach pain, bloating, nausea, etc., and psychological feelings after eating or drinking. You felt resembled, anger, or maybe guilt, fatigue, or something else. Start a food diary. It will help you control yourself. Loss of control and impulsive overeating often leads to various eating disorders and obesity. In other words, it turns out that how much we eat most often determines how much we weigh. If it were that simple, just by limiting the amount of food we eat, we could lose weight. Unfortunately, it's much more interesting and complicated than that. I will give you a simple example. If you eat a kilogram of cabbage or greens every day, that is about 330 grams for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's unlikely to harm your figure. But if you eat even half a kilo of chocolate or bread every day, sooner or later it will definitely lead to an impaired reaction of the body to sugar, to structural and functional disorders, and eventually to weight gain. That is why the quality of food you consume is so important. Try to make sure that 50% of your diet consists of vegetables, greens, and fruits. Except, of course, for vegetables and fruits with a bad reputation. If you are losing weight, you should reduce your intake of potatoes. They contain a lot of starch. And grapes, they contain a lot of fructose. Note, I said reduce, not eliminate. Although in individual cases, some patients should exclude them at all, at least for a while. In order to eat properly, you will need to learn one important skill. Learn to understand the food ingredients and what they are made of. Read labels. This information will give you a very strong incentive to give up unhealthy sugar, salt, and fat-loaded foods. Here is sugar, for example. It's now added to a huge number of foods, not just sweet foods, but foods that you wouldn't even think of. In bread, in sauces and dressings, in packaged foods, in marinades for chicken and turkey, even in fish. Just for fun, read the composition of the foods you buy. You will be very surprised. And yes, first, find out all the names under which manufacturers hide sugar and read the labels at all time. It will stop you from buying such products. If you understand that you have a sugar addiction and you are ready to get rid of it, then watch my video Why We Are Always Craving Sweets. Take care of your body and mind.